Welcome everybody as you're joining us to the webinar today. Good morning to you, or good afternoon or good evening if you happen to be joining us from another part of the world today. We will get going in a moment. I see many people are joining, which is wonderful. I'm Matt. I'll give a formal introduction in a moment or two, but obviously the session you're joining today is revitalizing your dynamic system to make the most of inbuilt automation and AI. So as the title suggests, it's a real Microsoft Dynamics focused session today, including the Power Platform. And please don't be alarmed if you don't currently use Dynamics. There are lots of tips and guidance for you as well. I'll cover that in a moment or two. I think given time and given we've a lot to cover, I will get going. So yeah, you are very much welcome today. And we will start to look at the agenda. So firstly, just to track back to an introduction, formally I'm Matt Dunphy. I'm a lead consultant and actually an independent non-profit consultant, so guest speaking today with the Smart Impact team. I'm certainly going to frame the session and then I'm going to artfully hand over to Smart Impact colleagues Jeremy and Chris, who will walk you through what is essentially some knowledge sharing and demo around the power of AI with Microsoft. I really do want you to see lots of features today, and although not presenting, I'm very pleased to say we're also joined by Smart Impact's Head of Sales and Marketing, Steve Sidey, and Steve will be helping with us with things like the chat and any of your comments. I should say this is an award-winning organisation whose webinar you are joining today, Smart Impact, at the recent 2025 Memcom Excellence Awards. Gained 7 awards overall, 3 overall winners as you can see on screen, 4 other awards, and you can see the clients related to those awards. So really anything we're sharing today around AI or the features of Dynamics, this is based on an award-winning approach. Simple etiquette, we do record these sessions, you'll be able to watch back, so please don't worry about having to write lots of notes or read all of the detail on screen. That will be available for you afterwards. We really like interaction, so if you've got any comments, drop them into chat. We've got a poll coming up, and of course we do want to hear your questions if you've got them. Steve can cover them as we go through, or indeed we will have a section at the end to cover some questions given time. And to cover the agenda briefly, in a moment, I'll give you a very simple signposting introduction to today's topic. I'll then hand over to Jeremy and Chris, who, as I say, will be sharing a lot of the features of Dynamics AI at the Power Platform, and we'll be demoing features. So you'll see those, and then we will summarize at the end and have any time for your questions. There are also some free downloads resources that I'll cover at the end as well. So very simple. I suppose we could call this the AI toolkit with Microsoft Dynamics, the Power Platform. We are going to explore really either the hidden or apparent power of AI using Microsoft. And I will say it again, you may be joining this webinar as a current Dynamics user, or someone considering Dynamics, or indeed someone with another CRM. That's all good. We've got stuff to help you today. So I think just for some positioning, so we've kind of done a little bit of research. This is always the case for webinars like these. We sort of think you might be in one of 3 categories. There is a 4th, which I'll mention briefly, but largely you may be someone who is currently using Dynamics CRM 365, elements of the Power Platform, your Office apps. You want to know about what's available now in terms of AI with Dynamics. I think that's fair. You might be starting your use of AI in your organization. In the middle there, you may be more advanced. You might have explored and embedded some of the features of AI with Microsoft Dynamics, looking ahead to the roadmap with Microsoft and what's new on the horizon. We'll cover that. And there may be some of you who are actually using a different CRM and are strongly considering Microsoft Dynamics, indeed potentially with Smart Impact. So simpler message here, we'll be able to highlight some of the return on investment value of Dynamics using AI today as well. The 4th category I said I'd mention is you might just be joining this like you've done all year for some CRM AI guidance that you can bring back to your own supplier, your own system. That's absolutely fine. There will be some nuggets of wisdom we can share for you today as well. And what we want to do, and this is just to get a sense of who the audience is so we can shape the conversation, is run a quick poll now to see which of these categories you fall into. So if you would take a moment to read the question when it appears, I think Chris is going to help me. And we just want to get a sense of who we've got in the room today. So Chris, I think if you launch a poll and then when you're ready, maybe let me know what the results look like.
Yeah, I'll give it I have launched it. Let's give it a couple more moments for some of the feedback to come in, but I mean, an early lead is the first one. So current D365 users exploring existing AI tools.
Fantastic.
And I think if I just project out, it's leading by some margin. So I'd say that's most likely going to be the number one response.
Fantastic. Well, so we'll wait for it to close, but while we're doing that, I mean, absolutely great. And we do know a lot of organizations are starting their maturity curve with AI adoption. You know, we know there are other things to cope with inside an organization in the not-for-profit sector, across charities. And so if you're really looking for what's inside your dynamics, you're in the right place. Just a quick check, Chris, then any other kind of surprises or other elements of the poll results before we move on?
No, I think the majority of the attendees are currently on Dynamics and in various stages of the exploration of AI tools, but we do have a handful of responses from using other CRM systems, but the majority is Dynamics.
Great. So just that health check again, if you don't currently use Dynamics, whether you're considering a switch or you just want advice, we will bear in mind as well. So you are all welcome. This should apply across any AI insight you're gathering at the moment. It was certainly part of today's webinar. Usually we find the benefits are available for individuals, for teams, and for organizations. So very quickly, you're probably in this mode at the moment. You're finding in AI and Dynamics or use of Copilot, other tools, personal productivity hacks. So ways to save yourself some time, potentially redirect your attention to where it's more needed than manual efforts. In terms of team-based efficiency, you'll see in Dynamics, there's a lot of CRM-led AI features that we'll cover, and that's something you can be sharing with your teams now in order to increase their productivity, give them efficiency back, give them some more time for higher value work. And then just finally then at an organizational level, I think some organizations are really starting to consider the transformational power of AI with Microsoft, you know, in terms of transforming entire functions like your contact center, or starting to spread the use of AI across the entire organization. And then just finally then, to give you a bit more of a technical steer in terms of what Jeremy and Chris will cover and where to direct your attention most. So if you are in this majority group, you know, currently using Dynamics, looking for AI is present, even potentially hidden, and your need to harness that. Certainly, be alert to any references to use of Copilot, and certainly I'm sure Chris will cover dynamic sales, customer services and customer insights, all great features if you're at this stage. Moving along, if you are sort of either more technically minded or you're more mature in your AI adoption curve, do please consider things like Copilot Studio, which Jeremy and Chris will mention, and AI Builder, actually building more with AI inside your organization. If you're considering a switch, a simpler message, you know, I've talked about return on investment already, and just sort of collect some of the key benefits of AI with Microsoft that you might actually then use to go back to your leadership team today and talk about, you know, the real kind of efficiency to be gained by this move. And of course, you know, if you are just looking for advice, again, there's advice available for you. So I'm going to pause now and hand over to Jeremy and Chris. And indeed, Jeremy, I will let my slide deck down so that you can share yours.
So look, thank you very much, Matt, for that introduction. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeremy Jaley and I'm Business Development Lead here at Smart Impact. As Matt's explained, this is going to be quite a practical session as we introduce you to some of the myriad ways that you can use AI tools in Dynamics 365 and Power Platform to revitalise your processes and transform how you engage with members. I think just to say right from the off, we've tried really hard to contextualize this for membership organizations. Quite a lot of the things that we are going to be looking at could be applied to various industries, but we're going to try and make it as relevant as possible to membership bodies. If you have any questions as Chris and I are going through things, please don't hesitate to pop them in the chat. And at the end of the session, there should be time for us to try and address those. And from my perspective, extremely heartening to see that 65%, some 2/3 of the people in the room are people that are currently using Dynamics 365 and exploring tools in the platform, because I think there could be no more relevant response to that request. So if I can get my slides to change. So before we dive into the practical demos, I think it's quite useful to think about Microsoft's AI toolbox in general and how different aspects of their AI ecosystem hangs together. So firstly is the concept of work IQ. And this is all about Microsoft AI tools being built on top of the applications that most organizations are already using to manage their day-to-day work. So this means your emails, your Teams messages, your files and assets in SharePoint, and of course the modern workplace tools that you use every day, like Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. In Microsoft's cloud platform, assuming that you're working in a single work environment, all of these tools and data are in one place, meaning that they can share information between them and therefore provide a hugely rich and detailed data ecosystem to use AI services and tools on top of. Secondly, and I'm fairly confident that this is where most people will have already experienced some of Microsoft's AI offering, Microsoft is embedding AI into all its applications for end users. So this means that new AI tools, things like Copilot, are popping up all the time. They're available for people to test and play around with in their own time, and users are becoming exposed to the opportunities that AI can provide, albeit within a safe, secure and governed ecosystem, which is obviously pretty important to membership organizations dealing with sensitive member information. And finally, Microsoft is extending its AI technology stack into low and no code tools such as Copilot Studio that Matt's already mentioned, and extending the more technical tool sets available to developers and coders. This is probably the most innovative, of course it's also the most technical, but it's the most innovative arena of all, because increasingly this is enabling organizations to build their own custom agents designed to operate independently, help organizations to reduce busy work, increase automation, and support innovation and creative deployment of AI tools that are unique to each organization. So look, I think taken together, these three aspects of the Microsoft AI toolbox, the fact that it's connected to your data, the fact that it's part of the applications you're already using, and the fact that it's becoming increasingly easy to use and extend, makes the Microsoft stack one of the most pragmatic and exciting domains to be working in when exploring opportunities with AI tools. So, in terms of our demo this morning, we're going to stay rather focused on Dynamics 365 and Power Platform rather than moving into other Microsoft 365 applications where there are plenty of other demos that we could do. And we're going to start with some end user focused functionality and then probably get a little bit more involved into more technical solutions as we go through the session. So one of the most powerful shifts we're seeing in Dynamics 365 and Power Platform is the rise of natural language querying and natural language interfaces. For membership organizations, this offers a step change in how staff and teams can work with the system and make it easy for them to complete day-to-day tasks. So instead of navigating lists, queries, advanced finds, searches, or perhaps relying on more technical colleagues to help you do that, natural language search, which is obviously augmented with AI, can enable users to simply ask the system questions in plain English and receive data-driven intelligent responses. For instance, you could go to the system and say, show me members due to renew next month, or create a segment of lapsed students in a particular geography, and Dynamics 365 can interpret your intent and display that data. Now look, as you'll see throughout this morning's session, natural language AI goes far beyond just querying data. With Microsoft 365 Copilot built into Dynamics 365 and Power Apps, teams can use it to draft emails, create their own workflows, build dashboards, or even set up automations using a simple prompt. So it lowers the barrier to adoption, cuts training time, and gives every team the ability to get more from the system. And ultimately, natural language features help membership bodies work faster, make better decisions, and focus more of their time on delivering real value to their members. So, Chris, if we can head in your direction to have a look at some of the natural language features in action.
So, as Jeremy said, natural language really forms the foundation of a lot of the AI tools that you're going to see throughout some of the other demos in today's session. And one of the reasons we decided to do this as the first demo is not only is it the foundation, but it's also very much out-the-box functionality. So this ability to enable something or just to have that available to your users without much programming or training of the agent or the AI is quite a key aspect of the natural language process as well. So if you've used Dynamics before, you're probably quite familiar with the concept that you see on the screen, which is a view or list. And in the past, if we wanted to build out a view, we would use something that's on the screen at the moment. So we'd use filters in order to find information. And that became, it was a bit of a barrier to a lot of users because it meant that you needed to, know how to build queries, but you also had to know your data really, really well. So if you wanted to ask something relatively simple, like all of my contacts in London, you would need to know which field is actually recording that information in order for you to build out the reports and the views that you need. But we now have this little window up at the top, and you can see the little magnifying glass with the stars. That's indicating that there's some AI functionality behind that. And we have the ability to type out what it is that we're looking for. So I can say something like contacts in London, and if I hit go, you can see there's a data exploration agent. So this is an AI in the background, not one that you need to configure. It's set up by Microsoft, and it will go out and it will trawl through the various pieces of data that's available to you, and then bring back that information and those queries. And they can get quite sophisticated as well in some of the different scenarios. So if I just go back, let me go back to the home screen for a second. That ability to say things like all of my contacts that are receiving payment by a direct debit, or all of my contacts that are based in London but are due to expire. We have that ability to pull all of that up through natural language using this little query bar at the top. Let me just do one more. So let's go contacts in London paying by direct debit, and that will go out and then build out those queries for me. That was taking a little while this morning. Then the other thing that we want to be able to do is to be able to visualize this data and pull out charts and reports. So there we can see it's pulled out all of my London contacts and everyone who's paying by direct debit. And from there, we may want to be able to visualize this information and bring it to life. So again, we have this little icon with the stars on the right-hand side. And if I click on that, it will bring up visualization options for me as well. So for there, if I wanted to bring up a chart that says all of my membership, let's say by status, we have these statuses down on the right-hand side. So if I wanted to zoom into all of my current, so these are all of my current members that are in London and paying by direct debit, and I can filter around those and have that as an interactive report. If I go back to my main list, so let's filter it down to all of my current members, and we can see we have Abigail up at the top. So let's go into Abigail and we open up her record, and from the record level we can start to see a little bit of additional AI functionality starting to pull through as well in terms of natural language returning information to us. So the first thing we have is up at the top, we have a summary of this contact record. This is configurable, so the things that you would like to be able to show on the contact record, still based on prompts, so looking at certain pieces of data, and we'll go into this in a little bit more detail towards the end of the session, building out prompts using CRM data. But we can see we have a churn risk assessment associated to this record as well. And then if we go over to our contact history, it's been around for a while. So if you've been using Dynamics from a timeline perspective, you may be familiar with this, but we can see the Copilot logo firing up, and it brings out a summary and a highlights of all of the engagement that we've had with them. So this is really useful if you're dealing with a record like I am, where we have loads and loads of tasks, activities, and emails and things like that. We have the ability to summarize all of that and bring it to the home screen. Jeremy, I'm going to pause it there for time's sake and hand back over to you.
So to wrap up, I just want to draw a line of sight to how these natural language features will help membership organisations to improve their work. And I'm going to try to do this for every app or set of features that we look at today. So natural language features makes your CRM and your wider digital ecosystem easier to use, dramatically reducing administration and speeding up decision making. Staff can access insights quickly and efficiently, and communication teams can create campaign segments in seconds that are accurate and ready to use. In different scenarios, member services or technical teams can also use natural language features to pull up case histories, generate summaries like Chris just showed, and work on the fly with data in a much more sort of ergonomic way. So ultimately, natural language features make your technology feel intuitive, modern, and human, helping you and your teams to focus less on the mechanics of the system or the structure of the data, and more on delivering exceptional value to your members while they are interacting with you. So right, the next app we're going to focus on is Dynamics 365 for Sales. And I think this is quite timely because Microsoft's latest wave of, its latest wave release brought a whole load of new AI capabilities that is already transforming how Dynamics 365 supports commercial membership teams. Instead of manually tracking every interaction or chasing cold leads, AI features now work in the background to guide you towards the best opportunities, analyze engagement patterns, and make recommendations about who is most likely to purchase subscriptions and services from you. And this helps commercial teams to focus their efforts where they can make the most difference. Copilot in Sales, which is an extension bringing AI assistance right to the heart of the daily interface, is especially powerful, and it's an investment focus for Microsoft. Copilot for Sales can summarize long email interactions, it can draft personalized outreach messages, and it can prepare call briefings for you so that you can undertake sales conversations fully informed. And it can even analyze your pipeline and highlight trends to help you focus on the most productive activities. So for membership professionals, these AI features turn the sales app into a genuinely intelligent and relevant assistant. It can provide clear insights and guidance into how to grow your membership or to engage sponsors and partners or sell conference places. And it can also augment other revenue streams with significantly less effort. So Chris, can we have a look at some of the AI features in D365 Sales?
Absolutely. Can you see my screen?
Yep, it's coming through.
Brilliant. So I know that sales isn't always at the forefront of membership organizations. So there is quite a lot that I could show in terms of some of the sales AI functionality. But what I think I'll do is I'll keep it very focused on lead processes. So for those of you that are not all that familiar with sales process and CRM systems like Dynamics, there's generally a process of leads or prospecting, whereby we have people we don't have much of a relationship with, and we want to nurture these individuals and then turn them into opportunities which will go more deeply into the pipeline. So if you think of, I think Jeremy gave a couple of good examples of where leads might and sales would fit within the membership organizations. But another way of looking at it would be perhaps you create a lead for every non-member who attends one of your events. So as they register, they become a lead. And from there, we want to start nurturing these individuals because we want to do outreach and make them a full member and convert them into a full member. Now, if we are having hundreds of attendees coming through, we can't follow up with all of those leads manually. And the sales qualification agent, which is the AI that's on the screen at the moment, is a tool that that allows you to configure an agent inside Dynamics that can do all of those follow-ups, those qualifications, and ultimately hand that over to a human to then do the last leg of that. So this is now taking the next step on from what we saw previously. So we're going to take data and we're going to automate that process of qualifying that information. We're going to allow the agent to do outreach. So that means communication to individuals. And only once they get a strong sense that this is a good lead to follow up, we'll pass this on to a human. So we can see we have a whole bunch of leads that have been handed over to me. I'm going to go down to Jeremy, who's a really good lead for us. And we can see there's a bit of an overview why this lead is hot, etc. But if I just go back and open up the actual record from Jeremy, we can see that there is some communication that's been going back and forth. And if I go and open up that email thread, you'll see that there's been some back and forth emails between Jeremy and the AI assistant. So all of this back and forth has been completely automated, and the agent has responded based on what Jeremy has been saying. So that's gone back and forth for a little while, but because Jeremy's said that he's really interested in the offer or really interested in becoming a member, this would then hand over to a human. So again, if we just go back to that lead record, we can see that Jeremy fits the description of almost our perfect lead. And if I go back over to the research, it starts to go into some of that information, some of the company overviews, the finances, and all of this research has been done by the agent. So it's gone in, it's taken Jeremy's company, it's searched the internet, it's found out any financial information it can, number of staff, etc. And then if you click on the right-hand side as to how this research was generated, it gives you the rationale that the agent went through in order to come up with this recommendation. Because it's going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you, this is not an out-the-box plug-and-play agent, but the setup is quite straightforward. So we go over to our sales qualification agent. We can see down the left-hand side, there's a whole bunch of touch points that we would need to set up. So in terms of the email instructions, so what kind of emails is it going to be allowed to send, what sort of personalization we would like it to do. Are we going to give it the ability to go and search the web to find out information, do competitor analysis, etc. So it's a really comprehensive step-by-step process. And then at the end, you want to run through a bit of a simulation to make sure that it is actually performing the way you would like it to do. So this is really going from a sort of linear lead processing, where we might put them in a customer journey and send them a series of predefined emails, to making it far more dynamic and responding to those emails, and then handing it over to the human only when it's actually required to do that. Jeremy, I'll hand back to you.
Thank you very much, Chris. Perfect lead, perfect opportunity, perfect customer, I can assure you. So for membership bodies, AI features in Dynamics 365 Sales brings structure and precision to sales-based activities that have traditionally relied on spreadsheets or quite manual and time-consuming activities. And it helps organizations to grow their membership, to secure sponsorship, to increase event attendance, and identify early signs of at-risk members and churn. And by reducing manual effort and highlighting next best actions, AI features also enable commercial teams to operate more proactively. And in short, that turns Dynamics 365 Sales into an intelligent partner, one that helps your organization build long-term value and strengthens relationships across your membership community. Now, look, as we spend a bit of time talking about Copilot for sales as an intelligent agent, I think it makes sense now to have a little bit more of an overview of how Microsoft is helping organizations to build custom agents that are hyper relevant to their content. Copilot Studio is Microsoft's agent creation platform, and it enables businesses to build custom copilots that understand natural language, integrate with your systems, and help you to automate tasks. And all of that infused with AI and generative capabilities. So for membership bodies in particular, this unlocks the ability to do things like providing 24-hour support for members through an online chatbot. And a Copilot chatbot deployed on a website or portal can answer member questions, guide them through complex processes like applications or assessments, responding to their particular inquiries far more elegantly than an FAQs kind of document, and help with day-to-day activities like registering for CPD or events inquiries, and directing members to the right information that they're looking for immediately. And behind the scenes, agentic AI creates opportunities for real operational innovation. Copilots can trigger workflows, update records, summarize inquiries, and collect structured information, which reduces the time and administrative effort that staff are having to go through and enable them to focus on much more high value work. So it's a powerful way to enhance engagement, efficiency, and member satisfaction across an entire organization. So Chris, if I can come back to you, what have you got for us in Copilot Studio?
Cool, thanks, Jeremy. So what I've done is I've jumped outside of Dynamics now, as I'm in Copilot Studio. But if you recall one of Jeremy's first slides about the Microsoft AI tech stack, that's all very intertwined with the rest of your application. So using something like Copilot Studio allows you to create an agent or an assistant very similar to something like ChatGPT, but then allow you to give it arms and legs by plugging it into your Dynamics data, giving it the ability to create emails or update records inside CRM, etc. So inside Copilot Studio, there's quite a few out-the-box templates that you could work with. So things like financial insights assistant that are all templated out and ready for you to use. And there's some really nice ones that have actually come out the box. So document processing, lead management, and if you just click on each of those, you see a little bit of an idea of what it does. But it is Microsoft's low to, I would say, pretty much no code solution in many regards to creating your own automated agents. So what I've done is I've created one called the Membership Management Agent. And usually what you'd be doing is you'd be doing a lot of back and forth communication with an assistant. So you'd have this chat window on the right-hand side. This is in the background, by the way. That's why it's not how it would look when it's deployed. I'll show you what that looks like in the next section. But we have this ability to do a little bit of back and forth. But if you think about Jeremy's idea of let's have an agent that sits on your website behind your portal, preferably, so that we can identify who these individuals are, we can then guide them to be able to do sort of some self-service aspects. So this agent is authenticated, which means it knows who it's talking to. So it's talking to Abigail, which is the same CRM record. And rather than giving it open chat capabilities, so the ability to talk back and forth, although you can absolutely do that, and I'll show you that in the next section, I've ring-fenced what it can do. So it says, what can I help you with today? My membership, CPD, events. So if we wanted to guide people into what is the next appropriate CPD activity, as an example, they could just click on that. But because I've selected my membership, it's now going down various branches where we can direct the flow of that conversation. So if Abigail, so what would you like to do? It's to change my membership grade or find out more. If I want to change my membership grade, it's then going to go ask the next set of questions. Well, are you looking to upgrade your membership, or are you looking to downgrade your membership? We don't want to necessarily give people the ability to downgrade online, or at least we want to put a little bit of friction in that process. So if somebody selected downgrade my membership, we would ask them to, it would just say, look, we can't process this, but you can contact this number. But we would then update that record within CRM. So that little green icon is Dataverse. So that's the CRM data in the background. And we can update that record to be an at-risk member, so that a member, someone in our membership team would get that flagged for them and can pick up the phone. But if they want to upgrade their membership, we're very happy to do that. So it's going to go on to the next set. So do you want to upgrade it? Or if you want to find out a little bit more about the different memberships and benefits. So let's go there. We can see it's now branching all around the sort of flow chart. And when we ask, well, what is it that you'd like to know, we're going to give it the options to say, well, I want to know what my membership upgrade options are, or I'd like to find out about the benefits. Let's go with what my upgrade options are. And although we could automate this process, I've actually asked it to do a little bit of generative capabilities. So what it's done is it's read through some of my knowledge sources that I've given the agent. And because it knows who Abigail is, it knows what her membership grade is, so it can tell us what the additional items are. And then when you're finally ready to upgrade that membership, that would then process that through CRM. If you need to do payments and things like that, that can be processed, but this is a relatively simple one, and it's gone into Dynamics and it's created a new membership upgrade record for her inside CRM. That just kind of shows you, just from a portal perspective, upgrading your self-service. It's a bit more sophisticated than a standard FAQ. Jeremy, I'll hand back to you.
So for membership bodies, Copilot Studio really brings three major, pretty immediate benefits. First, it enables that 24/7 support, giving members help whenever they need it, not just during office hours, by deploying a useful and knowledgeable online chatbot. Secondly, it makes digital experiences more intuitive, providing a conversational way for both staff and members to navigate processes that can otherwise feel complex or perhaps bureaucratic. And thirdly, it unlocks operational innovation. Even a small amount of automation through a Copilot, so supporting applications, triaging inquiries, or guiding members through compliance requirements, for instance, can save hours of staff time and dramatically increase satisfaction with the experience. So Copilot Studio isn't just another tool, it's a new way of delivering services, engagement and efficiency across your whole membership lifecycle. And I think, Chris, that's where we're going to go next, because we want to help bring this to life even further by showing how Copilot Studio can work alongside other Dynamics 365 tools like customer service and contact center to enhance member journeys. So on that note, next up is Dynamics 365 customer service. AI is rapidly transforming how customer service works inside Dynamics 365. And if you're paying attention to what's going on in the industry, I think this is an area where there is significant innovation and investment across virtually every sector, in a way, making something that used to be not very sexy because of the opportunities that AI has to offer. For membership organisations, particularly those that pride themselves on high quality and tailored member help desks and technical service support, the potential here is huge. Instead of staff teams manually triaging every inquiry, D365 now uses AI to tag, route and even respond to inquiries based on the content and context of what's being received. So routine questions about CPD or renewals or event bookings can be handled instantly and through automation, freeing staff to focus on more complex tasks and issues that are coming in. In particular, for organisations with detailed application or assessment processes, AI-powered chat and Copilot guidance can help members to navigate process complexity, reduce frustration and friction, and cut down on incomplete submissions that burn up a lot of time. And in sensitive areas like complaints or fitness to practice, AI can summarize interaction histories and prepare case briefings or notes so that staff can make decisions faster and with greater clarity. So these tools don't replace human judgment, they elevate it and give your team the space to deliver a more supportive and responsive experience to every member. So Chris, shall we have a look at Dynamics 365 customer service?
What we built is kind of an example of something inside, kind of stringing together a lot of what we've seen already today. So taking Copilot Studio, build an agent, let's put it on the website, is to allow people to interact with that. But then let's push that data back into CRM and then do some case management processes around that as well. So if I go over to one of our demo websites with a demo agent, as we fire this up, this is now talking to a Copilot Studio agent. Hasn't been really stylized or anything, but it's over there. And if I say, hi, tell me about Smart AI, which is one of Smart Impact's products. If you recall earlier, we gave it that real branching rules. Now I'm just doing natural languages. I'm just going to let that run for a second, and I'm going to jump over to our and those normal support type processes. And if I go over to our ongoing chats and conversations, we can see that this conversation has just popped up, and now there's one that's ongoing. So if I go over, we can see that it's now responded. It's telling me what Smart AI is, and I can then go ask follow-up questions like, can this be used for marketing teams and things like that? And let's go do this. How can it help marketing teams? And what might happen in a normal support process is that we can go through some FAQs, because this is all the knowledge articles, and we can see this conversation still ongoing. But at some stage, this may need to be escalated to a human so that we can pick that up and maybe create a case and manage that. So we can see that it's told us how it can help marketing teams. And let's say, can I talk to a human? So in the background, you can set up multiple prompts. So this is now, it's picked up in the language that it's looking to speak to humans. It's asking, do you want to be connected? I'm going to say yes. And if I go over to my workspace, we can see that a chat request has just popped up. So this is escalated from the bot, and I can accept that conversation, which will then, for me as a human inside CRM, I can start to work with this message. Now, very similarly to what we saw inside the sales module, there are agents that can manage this entire process for you. So take it from a chat to open a case, to resolve those cases through communications, and then come back to actually closing off that case. But I think just for today's demo, we're going to run through the human side of that. So we can see now, as a human, I can read the entire thread. We have that conversation. We can translate that. If the person was speaking in a different language, we can translate that for us automatically. There was a question about that in the chat. And then we want to go in and we want to create a case for this. Can structure that data a little bit better and manage that process of resolution. And we can see that there's an AI process thinking along the top, looking for suggestions. And what it's done is it's taken the transcript out. So it's had a look at all the things that have been going on in the chat, and it's given us some suggestions as to the title of this. So Smart AI capabilities and marketing benefits, origin being the web, and the general inquiry. So that's good. Let's give that a customer as well. We'll just give that Abigail. Then we'll bring up our customer information on the right-hand side. And then we're going to save that record. So from here, we now have a case that's been set up really quickly and easily for us. If I wanted to, I could now do a bit of back and forth. And we can see Chris has joined the conversation from the Copilot side. But from here, I want to just maybe send this person an email. So we can just send them a little bit of follow-up information. So if I go over to my timeline, I'm going to send an email. And within this email, very similar to what we have inside things like Outlook, we have this draft with Copilot, and it's giving us a couple of prompts, so resolve the customer's problem and things like that. So it can actually go out and find the solution if we have the knowledge articles for that. But I'm just going to say, please draft an email with the benefits of smart AI for marketing. And let's just generate that. You can see that, well, I don't know if you did see that, but it was tagged to use some of the knowledge sources that we have. So that will go out and it will read through the knowledge sources that we have set up and our knowledge articles. That's all the information and the organizational knowledge, and it's come up with a really nice email giving us all those benefits. If we want to adjust that, we can make it longer and shorter. We can translate that down to different languages. But I'm just going to say let's keep that, and I'm going to save and close that email. So I'm going to send it out right now. So we've done a lot of work with this individual, whether we're going to type back and forth or set out some information. And then from here, let's just say on our description, send some info. And now we want to go off and close that case. And let's just say it's resolved because the individual is happy. So as we go in and resolve the case, it's going to flag that I have some activities open, which is fine. Then we'll just close those off. And then once we go into the closing process or the resolution, we can see that it's giving us the option to propose a new knowledge article for this case. So you've heard me use that term quite frequently, knowledge and knowledge articles. And that's really the information that we have internally that we can use, but also that assistants and AI will have the ability to use. So we can see that there's a whole bunch of resolution items associated with this, and this is now written up a new knowledge source, and then we can just create that if we want to. And then in future, when similar cases arise, then either our humans that are managing the case can pick up that info, or the agents can use it themselves. Jeremy, I'm going to hand back to you.
Thank you very much, Chris. I was hoping that you were going to translate that email into Vietnamese and then take it from there. Yeah. So Dynamics 365 customer service has always focused on giving customer service teams the tools to handle inquiries efficiently. But with the addition of AI capabilities, it's becoming an intelligent support environment that also increases effectiveness and quality. Overall, these enhancements translate directly into better service delivery for members. Inquiries are handled faster, applications move more smoothly, and complex cases become easier to manage. And this ensures members feel supported and informed, especially during high-stakes interactions like registration processes, accreditation, or regulatory proceedings. So we're going to move on to AI-powered marketing. And I think AI-powered marketing automation is one of the most exciting AI opportunity areas for the membership world. One of the things that always strikes me about membership organizations is that they generally require a very sophisticated approach to communications because they deal with stakeholders for long periods of time, need to contextualize their services to people at different stages of their lives and with an ever-evolving relationship with the organization, and they need to make sure that their content is relevant and up to date to remain competitive and attractive as a source of information to their members. For this reason, anything that can support with the heavy lifting of communications activities should be a high priority for membership marketeers. Dynamics 365 Customer Insights Journeys is Microsoft's AI-powered marketing automation platform. It enables organizations to understand their audiences, build intelligent segments, and deliver personalized communications across email, SMS, portals, and events. Taken together, this can have a step change in empowering membership organizations to communicate with their stakeholders at the right time and with the right information. Now, can we have a look at some of the AI features in Customer Insights Journey, please?
Absolutely. So I'm going to blast through it. It is going to be whistle stop. So there's really three things we need to do from a marketing perspective to be able to deliver a campaign. We need to be able to create content. We need to be able to create audiences, and we need to actually send out those emails. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build out the content. I'm going to go into one of our very generic smart impact emails, which is just a welcome to your professional community. So this is an email that I've drafted previously. So we got some personalization in terms of the first name, things like that. But down on the right-hand side, we have content ideas. And what the content ideas does is it uses Copilot to have a look at either what you've already written and pull out some keywords, or you have the ability to add some new keywords in if you want to as well. So from there, we can then change that tone of voice. So if you want it to be more formal or adventurous, I'm going to leave it as casual because that's how we get the most emails. And if I go out and say get ideas, is they're going to create 2 or 3 different type or different sets of content. You're going to see it's a bit out there in terms of the emojis. I'm not exaggerating. And there we go. Hey there, future rock star, etc. Because on a casual setup, and we can then add that into our emails as we like. If we go back to browse ideas, we can see that we can leverage your organization's emails. So down on the right hand side, I won't enable it now, but I just want you to see what it does. Is once you activate that, it will then go through and analyze your last 20 or more emails that you've sent out and start to learn a little bit more about how you communicate some of your brand guidelines and things like that. So it will get smarter over time, but because I send out so many different types of emails from the system, it can be a bit all over the place. But it kind of speeds up that process of content creation and gives you different ways of doing that. If we go over to segments, we can build natural language queries as well. Now, I'm not going to go through this in a lot of detail for this one because I think you've already seen it when I was doing the first section on natural language. But let's just call this one web for now. And I'm not actually going to use any other query assist right now. And let's just go in an R. And let's just go into this one. And on the right-hand side, we can see this is Query Assist, which is going to give us natural language capabilities. And we can see there's a couple of different examples. So things like contacts who clicked any email link, or contacts who were created between 2 different dates and live in a different area. So it can get quite sophisticated in terms of how you want to build out these audiences. And then finally, all that magic comes together when we want to build out our journeys. So a journey is automation. So it's how we send out communication, be it a one-shot newsletter or a 5-part welcome or webinar process. So what I want to do is I'm going to write down in natural language what it is that I want. And I'm going to write, when a contact registers, and send them a thank you for an email. That's ultimately what I wanted to do. And if I hit the go button on that, I'm then going to think about what it is that I'm trying to do and what is the best way to go about that. And we can see that it's looking for a trigger, so an event registration, and it's asking us which event are we referring to. So we're going to go with that one, and then let's submit that. And we can see that it's now created that. So whenever there's an event registration, let's send them an email. But let's add a little bit onto that. So let's say, thank you for registering email, and wait 1 week and send a reminder email as an example. So we just add a little bit more complexity to that. So do I want to create a whole new journey or update this journey? I'm just going to go in and update this one. And then we can see that it should add that item in. So it's going to wait a week and then it's going to send that. And if I then want to create that journey, it'll go in and set that up for me and start adding in some of the emails that it's linked to that particular event. Jeremy, I'll hand back to you.
Thank you very much, Chris. So more natural language features coming to the fore there. AI in customer insights journey is opening up a completely new way for membership organizations to communicate and engage. And for membership teams, these capabilities turn marketing from a largely manual effort into an always-on engagement engine, helping you to build stronger relationships, nurture loyalty, and keep members connected throughout the membership life cycle. Right, and I'm sure some of you will be breathing a sigh of relief. Our last app of the day is AI Builder, which is Microsoft's low-code AI engine in Power Platform. It allows you to add intelligence to your processes without needing developers or undue complexity. For membership organizations, this is incredibly useful. AI Builder can do things like scan application forms, process certificates, identify high-risk complaints, or predict which members might be about to lapse. It removes manual effort and speeds up tasks that normally take hours. In short, it's a practical way to bring AI into everyday operations and make your teams more efficient and innovative. Chris, conscious that this could be the most technical area we've looked at today, but hopefully you'll have some helpful insights into how AI Builder can help organizations to do more in their business processes.
Absolutely. I'll keep it not technical at all. So if we go over to Abigail's record, I'll give a nice use cases. Maybe every year we want to create a benefit statement. So over the last year, what has this member gained and what has been the benefits? So let's say on this record, we have a generate benefit statement. Let's go and save that record. And what that's going to do is going to trigger prompts in the background to automate the process of generating that and using AI to generate that. I'm going to pop over to Power Automate. Again, I know this looks quite technical, but don't worry about what's on the screen. The only thing you really need to be aware of is that we have a run a prompt process. And what that does is, if I open up the prompt that's associated to, we have very similar to what we put into something like ChatGPT, and you can even see that the model it's using is GPT-5. We have the ability to give it a prompt, but critically, we also have the ability to give it access and point towards certain fields inside CRM. So we're telling it to generate a benefit statement. We're asking it to look at things like events, and these are the event registration, the start date, whether they attended, what groups they're in, what things they've done through our LMS, any CPD activities, awards and qualifications. And then we're asking the AI to take that information and to contextualize it, summarize the benefits, and give any recommendations for next year. So it's going to run all of that process in the background. And maybe let me just refresh the screen. Perhaps you want to set this up to email to an individual, or as a membership team, maybe you just want to be able to view that information and go to them. If you're going to go and ultimately Word document over, we have this membership benefit statement, and all of this information and all of this narrative was all generated through the AI and is all sort of contextualized that information for us, which is great. The other thing that we have, but I'll go through this extremely quickly, is we also have the ability to add AI onto actual fields inside CRM. So if I go over to a donation record, which I appreciate might not be applicable to everyone, we have this field on the right hand side. This text box is an AI prompted field, and what we've asked it to do is look at pieces of information and then generate this piece of text, which is going to be a thank you for your donation, points out that they're not eligible for gift aid, gives us a little bit of prompt around that, and all of that identification is all done via the AI. Other use cases might be things like a churn risk assessment. So have a look at different pieces of information. So have they been attending webinars? Have they been using their membership benefits? And then use an AI field to flag this as an at-risk member or not. Jeremy, I'm conscious of time, so I'm just going to leave it there and hand back over to you, if that's all right.
Thanks very much, Chris. So for membership organizations, AI Builder unlocks practical high-value automation in areas that traditionally relied on manual effort. As Chris has demonstrated, there's myriad different ways you can use it. It's really a building block tool to enable you to bring AI into various different scenarios. But what we're finding at Smart Impact is just a little bit of AI infused into your existing business processes can make an enormous difference to process quality and their ability to be responsive and personalized. And AI Builder is the foundational platform in the Microsoft stack to unlock this. And for organizations in membership where personalization and tailoring is really important, it should be an absolute game changer. So look, that was our whistle stop of AI features in Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. We've gone over quite a bit of time. We hope any of the apps that we're covering today, or you're looking for advice on how to get starting using Microsoft AI features, or you'd just like to know a little bit more about Dynamics 365 in general, please don't hesitate to reach out, and Chris and I will be delighted to help. So thank you very much for your time. And Matt, I think that's back over to you to wrap up.
Great. So again, whatever your audience, we do hope some of these features you will actually directly take away and discuss with your senior leadership teams, or indeed with your teams, in terms of finding AI in Dynamics and using it. One or two sentences on this, but please do get in touch with Smart Impact. They have a Smart AI suite, which is helping you implement these AI assistants and actually train and refine them so that, they start to speak in the tone of voice of the organization and operate as if they were a member of your team. I'm going to share these so that you can see the QR codes, but when you go to the recording, just because of time, but there's also these departmental use cases you can actually download for free with Smart Impact. Again, this is giving you examples of how to use AI inside your Dynamics and actually to start to refine your prompts. Brilliant case study here from the MEMCOM Awards, and generally with the Fire Industry Association. Smart Impact won several awards in this partnership. As you can see, many benefits on the left hand side there, all the good ones we want to see. The one I'll just highlight super quick is staff morale. There's still a mythology or mood music out there about AI's negative impact on people and their jobs. This collaboration was brilliant and actually raised morale levels and directed people much more towards strategic thinking. An example of all the different types of industry Smart Impact support, so from all colleges, chartered institutes, trade associations, to trade unions, as well as the CRM and digital work. They will be doing AI work in these spaces with their clients. Thank you for your questions, Penny, Vicky, Maria Velez, and others there. And again, I will flash these up. There are more free resources downloadable when you get to the recording around AI and the work that Smart Impact is doing. And there is also a health check that Smart Impact do, which you'll see in a moment, which allows you to actually diagnose your own current status with AI and actually get some help there. I will make sure you see that before we finish. Just bear with a moment. And then the other thing to say is, there you go, that's the health check. So certainly please do avail of that if that's where you're at as an organization. And then finally, then it's a watch this space. There'll be some information on the Smart Impact website very shortly about a whole program of events they'll be running next year on AI topics and other things like continuing with your core technologies. So thank you for joining today. Good luck with the rest of your days. Thank you so much to Jeremy and Chris and Steve for all the interactions and for showing so much of the richness of Dynamics. We do hope you walk away with actions, and I certainly have had a new inspiration around just how much is available now in terms of AI features using Microsoft. So thank you everybody and have a great day.
Thank you everyone. Thanks for coming.